Okay. So for our project, we're going to use the type_tools.ai file. And this is our kind of introduction to Illustrator. We had quite a few of us who Illustrator is very new for us. So some of you who already have used Illustrator, this might be a little bit redundant, but hang in there with me for a little bit. We're going to start when you get Illustrator open, you've activated Futura PT. That's the font it's asking you for. If there's another font in there, just ignore it. Doesn't need it. There's might be a hidden space. And that's what, if there's sometimes, I know I'm only using one font, which is Futura PT, but there might have been a space or the font got in here and I'm not aware of it because I did go through some other fonts before I decided on that. So don't worry about it. You don't need the other font. And the next thing we're going to do is decide on, we're going to go up to this window and go into workspace. You're going to choose typography. Whenever you go into Illustrator, you want to choose a workspace that's going to set up the screen according to your needs, depending on what you're doing. For our class, almost always, you're going to choose typography. So go ahead and typography, and that will make your window look just like mine. Okay, so you'll see that I have across the top, I can see my type at Futura PT. I can see its book 72. I can see my paragraph settings. I can also see all of my alignments. So that's going to be real helpful. And then you should have a toolbar to your left. So if for any reason you're not seeing a toolbar to your left and you're like, I don't have a toolbar, you could go to Window and go to Toolbars. And I want you to choose the advanced toolbar, not the basic, but the advanced. So you have the 2-column toolbar. I just turned it off. So if you don't have a toolbar, you go here to Window and you go to Advanced, and then it turns on your toolbar.
Sorry, can you say where the workspace is one more time?
Window, Workspace. It's the fourth one down. And then you're going to go to typography.
Okay. Bam. Got it.
Okay, I see it. Thanks.
You see it? Okay. So we have typography, workspace, and we have the advanced toolbar. Okay. So a couple little things to kind of get around the screen. So to zoom in and out, for those of us who are brand new, you want to use Command or Control if you're on a PC, plus and minus to zoom in and out, plus and minus. And then notice how my cursor is, I'm using the selection tool, the black arrow. If I click on the space bar on my keyboard, I can now move my whole page around. Now I am going to say I'm using a mouse. I highly, highly recommend you use a mouse for this class. If there's any reason you don't have a mouse, this is the time to get one. A mouse is really, really helpful. I also, even though I'm a Mac user, I don't use the Mac mouse. I use a mouse. This is a Logitech one that has the scroller on the top, and it has a right click and a regular click. And this one actually even has a couple other buttons, which I'm not actually good at using because I'm such a creature of habit. But I like that the scroll bar on mine lets me zoom up and down and left and right with my mouse. But otherwise I can use my right hand with my mouse because I'm right-handed, and my left hand I have on the space bar. So when I click the space bar, you should see that the arrow turn into the hand. Do you guys see that? The arrow turns into the hand. And then you can click and drag and move your page around. Minus to zoom out, plus to zoom in. Okay, any questions? You all with me?
I am.
All right, thank you. Okay, so couple things. We're going to start with the toolbar. I want to make sure that everyone understands these two arrows at the top. There's a black arrow, which is the selection tool. And that means I can select something. I'm going to grab this little pencil icon I have here, and I can move it around. Now, if I use the white arrow is the direct selection tool. So what that means is I can just grab a piece of that and edit it. Do you see that? I'm just grabbing it. It's not moving it. It's just moving this part of it. So a direct arrow, the direct white arrow will allow you to edit a shape like you're seeing me do. The black arrow lets me just move it. So they're really different functions. Does that make sense?
Yes. Right.
And that can get confusing, I know, at times for when you first start using Illustrator. So the black arrow is what we're using to move things. And when we get designing, we'll use the white arrow a lot because we want to edit things. Okay. So those two are really important. The next big one I want you to know about is the type tool. I'm going to get into these tools in a minute, but I'm going to start with type. So we have the type tool, which is the T, the capital T. And when I click into the word creamy, I click and drag, I can highlight the word creamy. So you should all be able to take the T type tool and highlight the word creamy. If I go to window, actually I take it back. I'm going to go to type. Excuse me. You know what? I want to bring up. I'm going to go under window. I was right the first time. I'm going to go under window, type, character, window. And you have to scroll all the way down. It's alphabetical order to the T's, type, and character. And this window shows up. It's also in this little sidebar that just popped up. Mine, I think I accidentally closed mine earlier. And it's the A key over here on this menu bar. So it tells me that I've selected the word creamy, that it's in Futura PT book 72 point. And this the two A's on top of each other with the little arrow between them, that's the leading. And it's telling me that we don't, and that's when you have multiple lines of copy. We don't, so I'm not going to worry about it. We have tracking. We have kerning on the left here with the VA with the line between them. That's kerning, and we're going to learn about that in a little bit. And we have tracking, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. I'm not going to get too much into that right now. But basically, I want you to know, though, that the character to change, you can change the size from here, but you don't have to use this pull out because in the typography workspace, it's also here along the top. So there's just multiple ways to get at type. You can use when we're in the type workspace, it's always up here at the top. It's also allowing me to change the paragraph settings from flush left to center to flush right. Okay, I'm going to leave it centered for right now. So there's two ways to get at it. There's its own panel, and we're going to use some of these features later. You can see there's a lot more features here than we're getting across the top. So mostly what we're going to need is what's across the top for today. But as we get more into this, we're going to be using many more of these features as we learn about them. Okay. So what we're going to do with this, so now that you know how to move on the page, we have these 6 words, and they're all very descriptive. So one of the things we want to do is we want to take and make our words look like what they say. So we want this word creamy to look creamy. What do you think? What does creamy make? What kind of typeface do you think we want to choose for that?
Oh.
right?
Some
When we think of,
bold-
what'd you
something
say?
like bold and italic a little bit. I don't know.
I
Like move.
agree. Yeah. Well, I found, yeah, you want to have something, I think bold is an idea. Italic, because italic or cursive, like I see Candy saying cursive, also is flowy. Yeah. So bold, cursive, flowy. Any other thoughts? What about something like that?
It looks like ice cream.
Right. This typeface, which is an Adobe typeface, is called Gelato. Who knows what gelato is?
Ice cream.
That's right.
Gelatin.
Gelato. It's Italian ice cream. Okay. So this one is called gelato. And so it's creamy looking, and it sure is. So you can find this on Adobe Fonts. So if you're saying, well, I don't have gelato on my computer, no worries. So if you want to get onto, all you need to do to get the typeface you want is to go up onto your Adobe Creative Cloud. And I'm clicking my Adobe Creative Cloud icon. That's for the Mac. It's up in the top menu bar. And I think if you're on the PC, is it on your bottom or your side menu bar? The Creative Cloud.
If you go near where
On the side.
Oh, I guess depends on where you are.
I was going to say it's probably depending on your setup, but it's either the bottom or the side if you're on a PC, and if you're on a Mac, it's at the top. And what you're going to want to do is click on your Creative Cloud, and then you want to go over to fonts. So we want to go, and for the, once you get in this window, there's a little F. So mine is at the top right corner of this window with all of the apps, and it's also right here in the middle. It's just it's like an F is the logo. It says Adobe Fonts, open in browser. I'm going to grab that. And then that immediately brings us into Adobe Fonts. So here I can say, for example, I got to remember how to spell remember how to spell gelato. Gelato. Okay. All right. So here it is, gelato, Lux, and here's the whole family. It's just one typeface because this is what they call a display face. That means it's good for titles and headlines, but we don't really want to use it for body copy. This would not work well for body copy. It really is designed to be, the title of a movie or a poster or a advertisement. You can see all the examples that they're given of how we could use gelato. So all you have to do is say, mine says remove because I've already added it. So right here, you could say add it, and you too can have gelato. And then once you say add it, you come back over here to Adobe Illustrator. And now you can select your type and go through your type list up here and find gelato. I see a hand, Jackson.
Yeah, did you do add family or add font?
Well, I think there's only one. So you could say family or font because there's only one.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because it's a display face. There's only one.
Okay.
If there's like a whole bunch, then add family. But if there's only one, it's either or. They'll
Okay.
both do the same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Good question, though. Thank you. So yeah. So remember when we think about the words, typeface is the family, right? It's all of them. And so you want, if you have a project that's going to involve body copy, where you're going to want light, medium, bold, those are all the fonts. But when you have a display, there's only one font. So that's it. Okay. So did everyone get a chance to add gelato and make their creamy word look creamy? Any other questions? Are we all there? Okay, so once we're there, this typeface, I've selected it. And if I go into my character text again, I can choose to, I'm looking at the one with the VA with the little arrow going left and right below it. I can make the type letters track closer together or further apart. Because this is a cursive typeface, we want to make sure that the letters are touching and connecting. That's what the type was designed for. So 0 tracking is kind of the default, and a well-designed typeface really won't need you to add plus or minus tracking to it. So when I look at this at 0 tracking, it's actually fine. It's perfect. There's no reason to change it. But if you're thinking, oh, for a design that you're doing, there's some reason for it, you can go minus 20 and get it a little closer if you feel like that works better for you. I think for this one, it's not necessary. I think 0 works perfectly. But I just want you to know that that is you can make your letters go closer or further. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go. So once I have my type set in the typeface I want, I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to make a copy of it. In order to make a copy of it, you heard Aaron Draplin use the term dupe. I'm going to dupe it. He's meaning I'm going to duplicate it. So you want to select your box. I'm in the black arrow selection tool, and I'm going to use my key commands. I want you to see how to do this. Well, actually, I'm going to do it 2 ways. One, I've selected it. I'm going to hold my option key down, and I want you to see how there are 2 arrows now. When I hold the option key down, 2 arrows show up. That means it's going to make a copy. I'm going to click and drag, and I've just made a copy. I want you to try that. Select, hold the option key down, click and drag, and make a copy.
Option is Alt on PC.
Oh, thank you. Alt. Yes, Alt for my PC users. Do we all do that? Do we all get our copies of Creamy? We should now have 2 Creamies. Okay, once you've done that, we're going to take one of these and say type. I've selected it, first of all. It's selected, and I'm going to say type create outlines. What I've just done is I've taken it out of being a typeface, and it is now an object. I'm going to show you how I know. So you can now see that each one of these letters is outlined as an object. And they stay as a group. They stay grouped. I can ungroup them, but at the moment they're going to stay grouped so the kerning stays and the tracking stays perfect. So this one is a typeface. I can see it's in a box, and there's a baseline that the letters are sitting on. This is a typeface. I can select it with the type tool. This is outline text. I cannot select it with the type tool. I can create a box, but I cannot select it with the type tool. I can only select it with the selection tool. Any questions about that? Okay, so then I can also ungroup these letters if I want to. Right now they're grouped. I'm going to go ahead and ungroup them, and that's under Object, Ungroup, because remember this is now an object. I select off the word, and if I select the A, for example, it's just going to lift right off of there. I'm going to select Command Z because I don't want to do that. But I want you to know for sometimes we are going to want to have our words ungrouped so we can move each letter independently. And the way to do that is to go to Object, Ungroup, and then you can move, each and every letter. All right. Oh, thank you, Candy. If you look in the Layers tab, it'll be layered as a group for any of the newbies here. Thank you. So I'm going to group it again, which is also Command G for group. And the layers, to get to the Layers tab, you're going to go to Window, Layers, and then that can show you the layers. We're not going to talk too much about layers, but that's what Candy's referring to, that there's groups. They're all in a group. You can see them here. So that's what she's talking about. Okay. So let's get into the rest of the tools. So here we are. So we've done, the first step is going to be, and actually before we go, I'm going to have you do that first. So for each one of these words, I want you to find a typeface that we've done creamy together. I'm going to have you move on to the others. We have a prickly, a smooth, a spicy, a cracked, and a loud. And I want you to find a typeface for each one. And then we're going to go on and modify them even more using these tools to the left. So I don't have a lot of time. So here's what I'm going to tell you, especially for my perfectionists out there. I want you to kind of get as close as you can, because the thing is, we're going to go in and modify them using our tools over here on the left. I'm going to walk you through these tools, and we're going to emphasize some of the features. So think about something that has some of the features you want. It doesn't have to have all of them, because we're going to customize them and make them our own. Okay. So go ahead, start searching for letters. So you're going to go ahead and select your typeface. So I've selected prickly. I'm going to get my type tool out. I'm going to highlight it. And I'm going to start with the typefaces I have on my computer. Go ahead and start just looking and see what you have on your computer. And what I would do is, don't keep it so far out like this. Bring it real close so you can see it. And the reason I sometimes don't like to use this top bar, because it's like hiding my so then I can pull over this sidebar and look at things. So that way it gives me, I can see my typeface a little better. So, and then of course it shows all of the type here. So I can be like, oh, maybe I kind of like that. What does that look like? And so find your type and then move on to the next one. And then once we do that, we're going to come in and use our little letters. So right now, just pick all your typefaces. Now, again, if you don't see anything on your laptop or on your computer, not to worry. Click on your Creative Cloud and go ahead and open up your fonts in the browser, which you already have open because we just did Gelato together. And you can go back to Home and you can go Browse All. And here you can pick some tags. So like, maybe you want to look at, funky, see what they have in the funky world of type. Maybe we'll find something funky that works. Or you can also choose, do I want only sans serif? Or do I want only serif? Those kinds of things. So anyway, I'm gonna let you guys look. Done enough talking. And I'll pause our video here and then we'll come back for the next part once we all have our fonts. Okay, we're going to keep going. So now what we're going to do is start with the first tool we're going to explore is the pencil tool. So let me grab the pencil tool. I'm going to put this over here just to remind you what we're working on. So we're going to work with the pencil tool. We're going to take the pencil tool, and the way we're finding it is it's on our toolbar on the left here, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down. The 6 down, it looks like a little pencil. And if I click and hold, you're going to see that there's a whole bunch of tools in this little box. We're going to focus on the pencil tool. The other way you can access it is by clicking the letter N. We'll turn it into the pencil, the letter N. So this is the pencil tool, and it's a drawing tool. So you can just try on the side, when we're not on our type, and just kind of explore the pencil. You can see how it works. Now notice how when I stop, they're all disappearing. Well, the reason that's happening is because if I look over here on the left, you'll see I have no fill and no line chosen. So it doesn't mean there's not drawings there, because if I roll over, they kind of magically show back up. So I'm going to take my selection tool, I'm going to click and drag, and there's all of my little doodles I just did. And I'm going to go over here to the color selector, and I'm just going to choose a color. I'm going to choose green. And these are all the little drawings I did. Again, I got to be on the direct select. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. Every time you lift your pencil, a new drawing starts. So I lifted my pencil 4 times and I ended up with 4 little drawings. I'm going to delete them because I just wanted you to see how that functions. But I'm going to keep the green as my indicator for it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm in the direct select tool. I'm going to select my word creamy. And what I'm going to do is select, while my word creamy is selected, I'm going to select my pencil tool again. Notice how creamy is still selected. Plus I've now gone in the pencil tool and I've selected it. I want to make my tail of my Y much more flowy and more like ice creamy, as if I was, on a creamy cloud. So I'm going to select my pencil tool, and I'm going to zoom in here a little so you can see it. And I'm going to click on the bottom on the line of my Y, click and drag, and I'm going to make a new tail for my, oh, and it didn't work. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to select, draw a new tail. Why is it not doing it? Hold on, let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see it. So I can see it. I'm clicking right on the line of my Y. Why is it? I think I need to select just, I'm going to use my direct select and just select the Y. Maybe it's because I have everything selected. Now I have just the Y selected. I'm going to draw. Oh my gosh, why is it not working? Because everyone's watching me. Oh my gosh, why are you not working, you silly thing? All right. Oh, goodness. Come on.
Does it have to be exactly from anchor point to anchor point? Is that the problem?
No, it doesn't. And I was doing this before class because it does sometimes get really finicky like this. I do like to start it at the anchor point because I think it helps. And then you want to bring it into the inner line so it connects on this side, but it isn't cooperating. This silly thing is not cooperating. You should be able to select it from the line and then bring it over, and what is wrong with this? Why, oh why? Why are you doing this to me?
I was just able to do it if you do it from the anchor point at the bottom and then go to the anchor point on the other side of the Y. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not
I
working.
know. Yeah, I was having it work for me earlier today because I was testing it to make sure it wouldn't do this in front of you guys. And it's doing it anyway, torturing me. All right, we'll try one more time. You select it grab, just keep trying. We'll get it. I don't know if I'm just jinxing it. Jinx. Why are you doing this, you silly thing? Try it up here. Oh my gosh. You crazy thing. I literally had this doing right before class. There it goes. Oh my gosh. You're driving me crazy. Okay. So it's a little finicky as you're learning. Here's the Y tail. I'm bringing it in. There we go. We're getting it working. It takes a few times. You don't give up on it. It'll come back. So this is not a pretty creamy tail like I wanted it to be, but that's okay. I can fix it. So that's kind of why I wanted to show you. I see a hand up. Jackson, yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think what it is if you select actually the point below that one, it should actually not have that weird point there. I think that was the issue we're running into. It would keep that second tail. So if you do like the other one instead, so not that
This
middle
one?
one, not that one, to the right, and then down one. The
This
one right
one?
above, I guess the one right above that you want to connect it to. So start from the bottom and then connect to that top one.
That's what I've been doing. Yeah. That's
Oh,
what I've
because
been trying to
I was
do.
gonna say, because that's kind of looked like it was what it was doing. Yeah, see?
Yeah. See, now it's
Okay.
working.
Oh, okay.
It only
Alright.
had me do it 500 times before
Right.
it decides to start working. But that is what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to grab the bottom point and then bring it to the top point where you're changing the direction of the line. So yeah, don't give up on it. And sometimes, yeah, this is yeah, Candy, technology is not always your friend. It does not always want to work. And it usually wants to wait till you have a crowd watching you. So, okay, so go ahead.
Those blue little dots stay in there? Stay
Yes.
around it?
Yeah, so these blue little dots are the anchor points. So to give you an idea, so like this isn't pretty, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how we're going to fix it. So once I have it working, which is now we do, I can go in and refine it. So you want to stay on that blue line. So I'm going to click and I'm going to bring this to be more of a curve and I'm going to come up. Oh, you're really going to give me a hard time, aren't you? There we go. And so I can kind of start playing with the curve of my line. And I'm going to keep playing with it and I can make it. You've got to just select on the line when you start. And then you got to come back up and connect to one of those dots. Okay. So as you're playing with it, you start at one dot. You can move it, you know, any way you want and then come back and end it with another dot. So you can see how I'm getting like these bumps in it. I'm kind of purposely making it kind of goofy just so you can kind of really see it. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you can see. So I'm clicking on the blue line, the blue dot, and I'm moving it to another blue dot. Okay.
Let's try that real quick.
So it's giving you that ability to customize the tail of this Y to really kind of get that any shape we want. So now I might want to say, I want to have that more of a curve here. So again, I'm going to select the dot. I'm going to bring it in to another dot. There we go. And now I might say to this curve, I want to make it go like that, like a hook. There we go. Now it's starting to cooperate. It's taking its own sweet time to agree with me, but it's eventually it's eventually coming my way. Okay, so try that. I want you guys to all try to make yourselves a silly little tail of our Y with the pencil. And you just undo, which is when you see me undo, it's Command Z or Control Z. And that lets you undo every time there's like one that doesn't work. You just do with your left hand on the keyboard. You want to do Command Z or Control Z if you're on a PC. Command Z if you're on a Mac. Okay, so now I might be. Okay, so we have that. And now I'm like, oh, that isn't as pretty as I thought it would be. It doesn't feel very like gelato-y. So I want to kind of make it cuter. So there's a few ways we can do that. I'm going to grab back to the pencil on the toolbar, and I want you to scroll down now to the smooth tool. Oh, actually, there's one thing I want to do on the, I forgot to say on the pencil tool. I'm sorry, you guys. On the pencil tool, I want you to double click on it, and I want you to bring your fidelity all the way to smooth. I forgot to tell you that. Change your fidelity all the way up here to smooth. And then say, okay. I apologize. So you guys might have been struggling with it. I mean, I almost forgot to check mine because I'm like, why is it not working? But I did have it on smooth and it still wasn't. Still giving me a hard time. But you want to have the fidelity all the way to smooth. Okay, and then say okay. So again, you want to select it with your direct select. So we're just selecting our Y. We're going to grab our pencil and make those edits. And then once you have a tail somehow kind of like mine's kind of lumpy and I want to smooth it out, I'm going to go on to the smooth tool and I'm going to double click on the smooth tool again, same thing. And I'm going to pull the fidelity all the way to smooth. I'm going to move the fidelity all the way to smooth. And I got this option panel by clicking twice on the tool on the toolbar. And then I'm going to say, okay. And now notice how it's a little circle. And you see these little blue dots? Those are our points on our line. And I'm going to zoom in so you can really see this. So I'm going to take this smooth tool and I'm going to go right along those and I want it to smooth it out. Look how it's getting rid of these dots. It's smoothing out the dots, getting those lumps out. You see that? It's like magic. Isn't that fantastic? Smoothed out those lumpy dumps, all those. It's kind of like little plastic surgery for our letters here. It's just smoothing all the wrinkles, all the lines. Sandra, go ahead.
Yeah, where can I find the fidelity option? I don't see it. I don't know how can.
Okay. So when you're on the toolbar,
Okay.
okay, so you see I'm on the toolbar, I'm going to double click. 2 clicks, double click, and then this tool option should show up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try it.
Okay.
There we go.
Everyone get that? So you do need to check the fidelity. We got to make sure our fidelity for both the pencil and the smooth tool are all the way over to smooth, and then say okay.
Fidelity. There you go. Smooth it out.
Yep, smooth them all out.
And fill pencil strokes. Don't touch any of that.
Nope, none of that. None of that.